Yeah, here. I get that. What is it? Hi, Zoomies. You get to see my big old face. Well, I send me. Oh, yeah, that's after. So you guys all had tasty lunches? What did you guys eat? Crustable? Yum. Oh, the cheat. Is it like the hot Cheetos or the? Oh. Oh wow.
I I I tried one.
Patrick. Whoa, fancy.
You know I have.
Yes, Stephen. Wow. Yeah, that's balance.
Jeremiah.
Chips Ahoy cookie. One cookie. Oh wow, restrained.
What about you, Stolas?
What's the usual? Chicken and rice. Oh,
You know I have.
What did you have?
I had bow ties with spinach with vegetables and chicken and sausage and peppers.
Yummy. Yes, Andy.
Oh, and a cookie
Oh,
from from uh from Haley.
okay. The pretzel, chocolate pretzel. Yeah.
Well, I had the usual, which is it was a sandwich with like ham and mayonnaise and strawberries and then iced tea. I never change my lunch because I'm so used to a routine. I am not sure how people can change lunch every time and get like a complicated meal like Jack Russell. So I kind of stick with like the same thing.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, I just want to note too that when he called that person that you heard Stolas, that he likes to give nicknames. His real name is just.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's use real names.
But fine.
I'm sorry to call you that. I just thought I'd clarify that.
It's fine.
All right.
Josh.
What?
You got your hand up.
Oh, I had meatloaf.
Okay.
I had pickles.
Pickles.
I had macaroni salad. They'll say don't do it.
Jill.
I made some pickles.
Meatloaf. Pickles. I'm trying to talk, Jill. I'm done.
Corn I said, please.
Sounds like a tasty lunch.
F-bomb.
I made 2 jars of pickles.
Two jars of so you pickled them. You put the vinegar and
Bought the cucumbers this morning and made one for us and one for my family.
Oh,
to
my
drop it
gosh.
off.
Yum. Pickled anything. Yeah.
hmm
F-bomb.
Test.
Ephraim.
I had rainbow swirls with chicken Alfredo and some chicken for lunch.
Wow.
This is a lot of varied lunches. You guys have all different kinds of things.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
1 2 1 2. 1 2 5 5 6 7 8 9 10
Justine,
11.
wake up.
Wake up,
Justine,
Justine. Wake
wake up. Well, you. Well. All right.
Can you just give me like a go or something? Okay. Hi everyone. Welcome to Industry Talk. We are in session 5, I believe, and we have a very special guest, Taryn. Thank you for taking the time to come to our studio. We're very excited to have you here. So
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So I'm going to give a quick intro that I took from your site. It says here, With over 20 years of experience in the arts industry as both an events producer and glass blowing artist, Taryn is driven by a deep passion for the process behind the craft. For her, the allure of glass blowing goes beyond its visual beauty. It's about the challenge of controlling molten material with every tool but her hands. Even after more than a decade at the furnace, glass continues to humble and captivate her with its intensity and unpredictability. She sees the skills developed in the hot shop as life lessons, demanding focus, commitment, and the ability to act without hesitation. Unlike other mediums, glass offers no second chances. It's this balance of control and surrender that keeps her coming back.
That is true. That is basis of my glass addiction.
So can we get a round of applause for our guest?
Thank you.
So now we're going to show a video so everyone can see what Taryn does on the daily basis.
You want the lights off?
Ricardo, please lights. Thank you.
They call us glass blowers, but really we're heat managers. And we're constantly working to put heat in some places and remove it in others. So most glass blowing studios are going to be melting a furnace full of clear glass. If you want to make a variety of pieces with color application and different designs, a lot of different colors, you'll start with clear glass and then you're going to add the colored glass to it. The colored glass comes in 3 different forms. One of them is a colored bar. It's a rod of concentrated colored glass, and we'll break it up into segments. It creates a really unique and smooth color application. It also comes in a powdered form, and the powder is a really quick application to pick up on the glass. You just lay it out and roll it up. The frit is a pretty common method. Frit, F-R-I-T, is just crushed up pieces of glass. They come in a variety of sizes from, say, sugar to fish tank gravel. So it's pretty granular, and you'll lay it out on the table, and you can just roll the hot glass over these chips. It picks up and it coats around the glass, and it's a very quick, very colorful application. I always have an idea of what I'm thinking when I start blowing glass for the day. And one thing that I always do is I draw out exactly what I want to make in a sketchbook. And then I might go back into the sketchbook and draw a few different shapes and see really what shape does this fit best on, and try and match those together. So I'll sketch a lot and bring it in, and it makes it just a lot easier for that communication and to really be efficient in the studio. Specifically, glass blowing is really different than other art forms. You can't be working on a project and say, okay, I'm going to put it down, I'm going to go get lunch, come back and work on it later. You have to start and finish that project at the bench in that time frame. Also, you can't touch or sculpt the glass with your hands. You have to use a variety of different tools, and glass blowers get pretty creative with what tools that they might even make for themselves. This is called the jacks, and it's really the most versatile tool that we have, really one of the most important that a glass blower is going to use. The tweezers and the shears are used to pull and to cut the glass. This tool here, called the diamond shears, has a really special blade, and it's a tool unlike any other. You never see something like this in other studios and other mediums. I still find it to be a really humbling material. It is very difficult, it has a really steep learning curve, and it's a huge adrenaline rush. And that's what I think makes it such a special, unique material.
Slide, please.
Wow, that was awesome.
So hopefully that gives some people here who haven't seen glass blowing kind of an idea what a day in the studio looks like.
Yeah, definitely. So now we have a few questions to
All right.
ask you about your career and just fun stuff. So I'm here with Ionis, one of our student leaders.
Yeah.
You want to say something, Ionis?
Like,
Just introduce yourself.
okay. Some of you, am I honest? 30 years old. This is my third semester. Pretty soon it's gonna be my fourth semester, and I'm gonna be out of here. And I go to this art um performing arts. It's called AWO. I go with um um
Like other peers.
yeah, with other peers.
Mhm.
And I'm really perform. I really love to perform.
Nice.
So yeah.
So we're gonna ask you a few questions. So I'll start with the
Oh,
first
and
question.
I'm also from New York too. So
Okay, yeah, yeah. Which I believe you're also originally from the East Coast too, right?
Yeah, I'm originally from Boston. That's
Oh,
where
there you go.
that's where I grew up.
what
Equally, just the same.
Yeah. Maki Mak.
That's true. Okay, so can you describe what first drew you to glass blowing? Was it the color, the movement, or something else?
Absolutely. I vividly remember seeing glass for the first time, and that was actually in person. So I was with my parents, and we were touring different college campuses that I was considering to apply to. And this one school in Boston, which ended up being my first choice to go to, called Mass Art, they had glass blowing. And I'm sure these students, being so new, didn't really know what they were doing, but just the movement, the color mesmerized me. I was watching a student grab a little bit of glass with tweezers, and he ran down the hall and out the door, pulling the glass so thin like a fiber optic cable. And that was my very first interaction with glass. And I said to myself, oh my gosh, if I get into this school, I'm definitely taking this class.
that's really exciting. What does it feel like physically and
Emotionally.
emotionally when you're step
You're shaping.
in the shaping glass?
That's a great question. So, when we start working with the glass, it's molten, but within a minute or so of being out of the heat, it cools down rapidly. So, the feeling going from a liquid, it does go to a solid, changes in a minute's time. So, sometimes it can feel like you're trying to shape maple syrup, and sometimes it feels, you know, just like a solid material that you really can't do a whole lot with.
The intensity is that what drives you? It seems like that feeling, like that rush almost.
There is definitely a rush because you have such a limited amount of time to work with it while it's hot. Glass only shapes and inflates when it's hot.
Wow.
So you have very limited time. And you saw that there was a furnace that I kind of kept going back into. That's a reheating furnace. So after a minute at the bench of shaping, I have to go back in, get more heat to get it molten again.
Do you plan each piece before you start? I know we saw some of kind of your process there in the video, or does the glass sometimes decide for you?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Okay.
The majority of the time at this point, I've been blowing glass for 21 years. At this point, I have a very solid plan of what I'm going to make. So, the glass blowing studio, I work in an industrial facility. It's really expensive. It costs $60 to $70 an hour just to rent that equipment. So if you don't know what you want to do, you're kind of throwing money out the window. You have to have a plan and know what you're going to make in that time. But that doesn't mean that I don't have some days where I'm playing to try out new ideas. So it has to be a good balance.
My third question is for um have there there no had your work been featured movies, TV shows, or music videos? If not, it the a film you love to create a picture for, a piece for.
No, I haven't really had my work featured in that. So, actually, my uncle, who for a long time he made technical books for Apple for iPhoto and iMovie, and that's who created the video for me that you saw. So some of my work was sort of featured in that, and then featured as examples of how to edit in iMovie projects, which was really cool. So I'm sure a lot of people learning saw my work. um, I think that would be really amazing to be able to have pieces, that the public was really able to see in sort of a video production, but it has yet to happen for me.
Well, we got to make it happen, right, guys? Yeah. We got a lot of. Yeah, we got to add your piece in one of our films, or, once we get one of these people, talented people here to become, directors.
Haley, Haley.
Okay, so for the next question, are there certain stories or emotions you try to express through your glass work, like characters in a film?
Ooh, that's a good question. I can't say that that's really my inspiration. I'm really drawn by color and pattern. I'll see. It could even be a photograph. Typically, it's something in nature. It could be patterned on a rock. It could be an aerial view of ocean, just seeing different depths and layers of blue. So for me, I really love nature. I love the organic patterns. I love the various kind of color palettes. That is what really inspires me. And so I'll take that and then think about it a little bit. I don't always jump right into making a shape with it or how to replicate it, but usually it's the little seed, the idea that's planted, and then I'll kind of move on. Usually I'll make colors and patterns the start and then decide what kind of form it would look best on later.
Sounds interesting. That's very cool. Um, have you ever collaborate with people in animals, in animation, gaming, or special effects?
I have not, but that sounds incredibly fun. That would be a really great opportunity.
There we go, another collaboration
Mhm.
opportunity for our studio, right? So for the next question, okay, we're gonna have open it up to questions later. Okay, so we're asking questions now, but for those of you online or in person, just know you guys can have questions ready. We're gonna open it up, but we're just gonna finish and go through our questions first. Okay. Okay, so glass can be clear, colorful, sharp, smooth. Do you have a favorite texture or color to work with, and why?
Ooh. So clear glass behaves, I'll say, sort of like a neutral in behavior. Warm tones, reds, oranges, yellows, they are stiffer to work with. They aren't as soft. And the cool tone colors, blues, greens, purples, are softer than clear glass. I love working with the stiffer colors. I love orange. I love pink. I love gold. I love all of those sort of warm, deserty kind of colors. And those would be my favorite to work with.
I love
Do
that.
you ever work with blue before too?
So, blue is one of the most popular colors. Most people love the color blue. And if you
Nice.
want to appeal, you have your work appeal to a, mass audience, you have to kind of start working in colors that you may not be as personally fond of. I actually hate the color blue. Very unpopular opinion. Hate the color blue.
All right.
But I want to have work that appeals to a variety of people. So it's not just about what I want to make for myself. I have to think about who's going to buy this. We live in a coastal community, so a lot of people here. Most of my kind of water-inspired pieces sell the most. So you have to really change some of your personal opinions and personal preferences to be more accommodating for an audience.
I agree. The beauty of the desert doesn't get the recognition it deserves. I'm a desert person too. I love a desert, so I hear you.
So, what the most
Surprising,
surprising or
difficult.
difficult things about working with glass that people don't actually know? Usually know.
So I teach a lot of classes. I teach a lot of workshops in glass with people who have little to no experience. And one thing that I think people really underestimate is how important it is to continuously turn. You saw that I was holding that big stainless steel pipe in my hand. That is so incredibly important, more so than the moves that you do shaping with the tools. That continued and steady turning to keep the glass on center is really everything. So most of the time, that's not a move that people are familiar with. You wouldn't constantly be turning a rod really for any reason. And so that is something that people forget when I teach those classes. I constantly am saying, don't forget to turn, keep turning, because once the glass falls off center, it is hard to get it back on and to have your piece turn out the way that you want.
That's so cool. So you also teach as well?
I do, yeah.
Oh, and like, what does it take for someone to want to learn? Like, can it be just like me? Like, I know nothing, and I just walk into your shop. Like,
So I work up in Carlsbad at a studio. I rent from a husband and wife team up there, and they have their shop open to the public. So you can come up and try to make glass. The very first little introduction piece that you would make would be like a paperweight, like a solid orb. I know MC has one on his desk, right? So you could start there, and that gives you a good understanding of the heat and what it's like to shape glass. And for a lot of people, that's good. And the heat is very surprising. So it's 2100, 2200 degrees Fahrenheit. And that is not a temperature most people are used to being in front of. And so that can be also another very surprising, yeah, very surprising a little bit when you come into the studio. So they might make the paperweight, and then that's with the owners of the shop. Once they have that experience, and if they want more, they will set up a private lesson with me, and in 2 hours we work through a variety of shapes. But I'm at that point, I'm very hands-on still, because like I said in the video, it's a really steep learning curve. It takes years. Hmm.
how long did it take you before you felt like really you're like, okay, I'm honed in these skills and I got this? Like, how long did that take? That confidence, I guess.
I would say I felt somewhat proficient after 5 or 6 years, and more like 10 years in, felt okay, I've got this.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I've heard that it's mostly it's male dominated.
It is.
Why do you believe that is? Like, is it because of the physicality of it, or why do you think there's not as many women in the industry in this specific skill set?
I do think it can be kind of intimidating. You do have to be strong. I'm not going to lie. You do have to be very strong. Yep, I have some serious muscles under this sweater. um, when I went to art school, the majority of the school was actually women, and the majority of my glass blowing class was also women. And so I didn't really experience that there as much. But in the industry after leaving school, I moved to Seattle. There's a very big glass blowing scene there, and I wanted to really dive in, jump in, and kind of be in the mix and learn from everyone. And it was very obvious that there were more men at that point. When you do scale up in pieces, I mean, it is, as they say, blood, sweat, and tears. You are really, really having to move some heavy things, some big pieces. And so I do think that it is kind of male dominated still. But has anyone here seen Blown Away on Netflix? No?
No.
All right. Yeah, that's your homework tonight.
We have to
Okay.
show it. Yeah, we're gonna have to show
Yeah,
it.
Blown. Well, Blown Away is a competition TV series. It's on Netflix. There's 4 seasons, and you'll see that there are a lot of female glass blowers in there. And I just think, kind of as we move, through time, we're just gonna take over.
I like that. I love that.
Do you ever wear like gloves when I can see I could see when we did the video, I saw like you guys wear gloves.
Yeah, how do you stay safe? What are the safety measures?
Yeah.
Good question.
That is a good question. So the biggest thing
'Cause of
for
the
me
fire.
is the safety glasses, because something can drop and shatter in a moment. You don't know what's going to happen. You want to protect your eyes. You should wear closed-toe shoes. I never do, but you should.
I saw the Birkenstock and I was like,
Yeah,
oh.
I wear Keens in the hot shop. It's so hot. For some people, also your skin feels, so uncomfortable being against the radiant heat off of the glass. And so a lot of people will choose to wear long sleeves, long pants. And I don't feel that same way. If I'm really hot in the studio, I'm happy in a tank top and shorts. But one thing about the gloves is that you lose dexterity. So it's really hard. Remember, I said that the consistent turning of the pipe is the most important thing. It is so hard to turn the pipe with gloves on. So it is not as common to use them for most pieces. But if I had a piece of glass that I was sculpting, and maybe I had someone else who was helping me to turn the pipe, and I stand on the outside of the bench and I might have a torch and be sculpting at the same time, I'll probably put gloves on if my hands are going to get really close to that glass.
Okay. Do you want to ask the last question?
Yeah. So like how and this is gonna be like a personal question. How much you sell these when you sell your glass? Like how much
How much do I sell it for?
Yeah.
You have to have kind of a range, I think. As we were talking before about the color, trying to appeal to a bigger audience, I have a range of pieces from $20, and this year I sold a piece for $10,000. So a huge
Wow.
range in work. Most of my work, I would say, is under $1,000.
Oh, and,
There we
and look,
go. Look,
and look
everyone.
right here,
There's the work.
Haley.
Isn't that beautiful? Wow. Oh, I love the marble, the red marble.
Oh,
Wow.
I like the purple and the blue.
Wow, that's amazing. No, cannot. No.
Benji.
So a piece like this I have up in the gallery for, I think, about 500.
Wow.
And it's very large. It's very large.
Which one
Beautiful.
is your favorite one?
Do you have a Oh yeah, do you have a favorite?
Yeah.
A favorite child. That's like
Favorite
asking
child,
about
I
a
know.
favorite child. It's not pictured up here, but my favorite thing to make is a balloon animal dog.
Oh, I've seen that. That's so funny.
Nice.
A balloon animal dog. It is 7 bubbles that are created and stuck together hot. We torch the different ends and then connect them, and watching them kind of get built. It's like watching a little Lego figure getting built. Just bubble by bubble, and then they come together. I don't know why, but it really makes me very happy.
That's awesome.
Okay.
So-
Yeah, we're looking.
so do you
and
want-
also the
No, it's
sea
okay.
slugs. I would say the sea slugs.
Ooh, that's really
That
cool.
was a commission piece, and it made me so happy that someone asked me to make them a slug.
I love that. All right, we have we have time for one more question. Okay, Steven.
Have you had any like mishaps / lost pieces during your time working?
Oh, absolutely. And so when you first start blowing glass, you will definitely lose more pieces. As you get more proficient to professional, you have a better ability to manage the pieces. And I have a very, very low, almost none as far as like a loss rate goes. Mhm.
Oh, that's very impressive.
I have
All right, one last question. All
one
right,
more.
let's go.
What glass blowing with a character in a movie or story kind of
What kind of personality?
personality in the world it has?
Would it have? So if glass blowing were a character in a movie or story, what kind of personality would it have? Or what kind of character would it be?
Maybe anger. I'm from Inside Out. Yeah, maybe anger. I think that glass is so challenging, and it never ceases to humble me. I have an idea of something I want to make, and it's like, nah, just kidding. We're never mind. We're not going to do what you want us to do. So it's kind of defiant and it's kind of spicy.
Like
Wow.
it.
Wow.
We can see some of your artwork. The poop emoji is my favorite so far.
Right, right. This one's a rubber chicken that I made
Oh,
for
rubber
someone.
chicken?
Yeah.
Oh my
there's
gosh,
a
these are
dog right there.
amazing.
Yeah, that's one
Oh,
of the balloon
There's a
dogs.
balloon dog.
Most of these were actually commissions. There was a pickle
Wow.
for a pickleball trophy. I had a penguin for a penguin trophy.
Oh.
The apple. Believe it or not, the poop emoji was also a commission.
Emmy?
All right, Emmy, one last question. Go.
What is who inspired you to actually go into glass painting? What artist or what person inspired you to actually be a glass artist?
So it was really that moment that I saw glass for the first time that I was inspired to try it when I was touring the colleges. I knew I wanted to go to art school, but I actually didn't know really what I wanted to study. And I had always done 2-dimensional art. I had never sculpted with anything before that. And so just seeing that person who was making the big long strand and just seeing what that material could do, that was my inspiration to start working with it. There was never like a glass artist that I was wowed by or that I followed that made me want to do glass. It was just a student.
That moment, yeah. So one final question, because I know this question a lot of students would probably appreciate. What advice would you have? Some of these students here are artists themselves, whether it's like animation or art or drawing, and they ask always about like how to sell their art and how to become how to make profit through their art. Do you have any advice for someone who's
That is
starting
a-
off?
That is
Yeah.
a good question.
I would say it is as important for you to have a professional appearance digitally, to be active posting, make friends with someone who's really skilled with marketing, because your work can be amazing. But on the administrative and kind of promotional end of things, if you don't have that desire or maybe the skills that are really great for that to showcase your work. And I think for a lot of people, initially for me, I felt so uncomfortable promoting myself. And so sometimes it's worth having someone that you know that can really help you to see that and to promote what you do, to make that connection. That's really important. And the second thing that I'm going to say is that oftentimes as an artist, you're wearing a lot of hats. You may have to do or make work things that you don't want to do. We call that bread and butter. So you need to have maybe a product that, oh gosh, I've made this so many times, it's not exciting anymore, but it's selling for you. And you're like, well, I want to move on. I want to make this. I have this idea. You don't always get to make what you want. I mean, I actually don't enjoy teaching all that much, but for the income and to still work in my field, I teach a lot of lessons. So I might make things that I know, are more kind of small production items that pay the bills. It's not really what I want to be doing. I'd rather be making fun sculptures as much as possible, but it has to be a balance, and you kind of have to know that you'll have to figure out what that balance is.
Thank you. And
Thank
thank
you.
you for coming in and
Thank you
talking
for
to
coming
us.
in.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Round
everyone.
of applause for Taryn. Yay. All right. Well, that's it for our industry talk. For those of you watching live, thank you for joining us.
Yep.
Everybody wave.
Bye.
All right.